Here we go.
Got big plans this weekend?
No, not really. I'm just trying to get the car back. Once the car gets back, I'll be heading that way. Once I know for sure. I'm going to make sure this car is perfect. I'm not taking it anywhere until I'm comfortable.
I got everything arranged for you for your meeting with Seth.
Awesome.
All ready to go.
Perfect.
He said he'd be glad to be in the woods with you.
Yep. Perfect. And I know what your plans are, so.
Yeah, I'm sure straight do. Talking about this evening, right?
Yeah. I'll be sipping my latte.
I should have said off the record, right?
We're just talking coffee.
Oh, great.
Well, good evening, everybody in chat. I see you guys. I hope you guys are doing wonderful this evening.
So I think we're good to get started. People keep coming in. What I want to do, Betty, is I think everybody knows where you stand on this case, but I want you to have an opportunity for you to explain your stance on the case and how you got there and what you like about this, what you don't like about it, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, I think really my problem with this case is the amount of questions that I still have this far into the case. We don't have really any good background information. I mean, just from out the gate, was Sebastian Rogers overstimulated the night before, and did it cause problems for him? Well, was the 3-hour conversation that Katie had with Chris, is that normal and customary, something they do every night? Because if it's normal and customary, it's not a big deal. If it's not, and it only happened this night, it could be a huge deal. What was Katie's demeanor like when the cops were at the house that morning? All these things we don't have, and then we couple those with the behaviors of the parents. You got Seth out in the woods looking for his son. You would assume that the other, half of the family would also be by his side out in the woods. And despite them coming to media at the beginning saying that they work together, they all get along, this, that, and the other, but clearly out the gate, nobody was helping.
Yeah, I agree. And I have a tough time believing, again, just my opinion, I have a tough time believing that with the situation that we've been told time and time again their marriage was in, that it's normal to have a 3-hour conversation.
Yeah, it's just really weird. I did talk to some truckers, and they say that their long-distance relationship with their husband, that they are normal and customary speaking to their husbands for several hours in the evening or during the day at one sitting. But it's, again, something that happens every single day or on a set schedule. It's definitely not something that they would do one week and not do another week. So it's definitely something that needs to be looked at. And the other question I have is, why did it take them 8 days to come to the media about Sebastian's story and case, and why it seems to coincide when the case publicly shifted and these search efforts were pulled back and they started entertaining the possibility of foul play? These things are coincidental to me, and I don't believe in coincidences in cases like this. So those are other questions. Again, all comes back to all these questions we know nothing about this late in the game.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree. And you guys, you guests in here tonight, feel free to ask Betty any questions. She is very analytical. She's very fact-based. It's clearly not her first rodeo, so please be respectful. Absolutely, we're not going to have any baloney in the chat tonight. So,
Yeah, I'm the nicest person in the world until you get into my crawl, and then I'm just not a nice person anymore, and everybody complains. But just remember, you did it to yourself.
Can we say your famous line, what you say to people when they get out of line? I mean, I guess we
Don't
can.
be a dick.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So.
we can all just follow the cardinal rule. I think we'll all be okay here on social media.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you guys have any questions for Betty, I mean, just about opinions, obviously, because we're not investigators.
Right.
And,
yeah,
you know,
I'm a very opinionated person, but I really try hard to get, there's a lot of stuff I don't say. There's a lot of stuff I don't talk about that is in my back of my head, and I'm just waiting for something to corroborate it, or, just something to push it over the line where I can talk about it in a more factual approach. I don't like gossip. I don't like, rumors and stuff like that. I mean, they're good, but they're not good. I like to be able to corroborate the rumors so we're just not peddling horrible stuff. So I try to bring it back to the basics when it comes to this case. And the bottom line is we're all assuming, and this comes out of right out of Chris Proudfoot's mouth. They are assuming that he walked out the door. They didn't physically see him go out the door. They are assuming that he walked out the door, but what they're failing to do is to assume the other side of that. What if he didn't walk out the door, and what does that assumption mean to Katie and Chris? And they're not answering that. They're avoiding it altogether, which to me is suspicious.
Very, very, yeah. I mean, and I think that Seth has been pretty public about until today, where he was blessed with a longer conversation today, the only thing that they had told him factual was that they had no evidence that he ever walked out the door.
Yeah. And we learned that up front because when this was just a missing person case, obviously they were looser with the gums than they are today because this is not a normal missing person case. And one of the things that the media were able to do is speak directly with the searchers. And there was one searcher that says that in his 20 or 30 years of searching, he's never not found anything. And that was the situation that was I remember this because I remember watching it with my own eyes. And I remember watching it live. And it was one of the searchers that was out there. He had been doing this for a long time, couldn't find anything. He even stated that in my 30 years, I think he said 30 or 33, something like that, years of his experience, he's never not found anything. And this is one that's really got him perplexed or something to that effect.
And then Chris makes the comment that this is going to be a case they're going to be talking about in studies for years or something to that effect. Did you hear that?
I heard him say something, and then I also heard him, because in every conversation they talk out of both sides of their mouth. So, and we're just now finding out that, Chris believes that, if we just took all the noise away, this would just be a simple case of a child running away. No big deal.
So I guess the noise means critical thinking, right?
That's what I'm assuming. But I did find out Chris must watch me because he had a lot to say about me on another podcaster or another crap channel's interview where they gave him soft questions and wanted to talk about soda pop and drinks and stuff like that. It must be nice having a missing child and going on to talk about a child and never actually talking about the child, which is another problem I have.
Yeah, I mean, how often do you hear him really talk about Sebastian? I mean, forget the mom because she doesn't talk at all, but...
Oh, she was talking in this one too, but she didn't bring up her son's name either.
Yeah, I noticed that. Is that what we're calling those now, crap channels?
Well, it's this particular channel that really got it in the, pooper. And not only that, but just a crap person.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I love about Betty, guys, is she is here for Sebastian, and she has made that very clear from day one. I've had a lot of private conversations with her, and the focus of those conversations is always about bringing this boy home. So, it doesn't take long to see where her heart is, for sure.
Yeah, and I've gone over maps, and I want to get back to the mapping. We've now, I feel like we're finally getting the ship corrected, where people are starting to focus back on these interviews, and they're pulling a lot of good stuff out of them. That evil exists has really been on top of some of these interviews and catching those aha moments and mistakes that Katie is making. I'd like to see more people doing those things, because we have an idea of what could have taken place, whether it goes from, depending on your theory, from abduction to something more nefarious and more in the realm of foul play. But either way we look at either one of those, we have to decide whether this boy went out of this house willingly or unwillingly. And everything that we're seeing is showing an unwilling participant, because we have all shoes there. We have, there's nothing really supporting the fact that he willingly walked out by himself. And I started talking and unearthing another theory of mine related to whether his disabilities would actually allow him to walk out of the house. He has sensory issues. It was very cold that night. Would he be able, with his sensory issues, to walk out there in that bitter cold without shoes on? There's just a lot of things that I have questions about, but it all comes back to, why do we not have the answers to these very simple questions 3 months into the case? And that, to me, is very problematic.
Well, and I have a high-functioning autistic child that's very close to our family, and they're they want to be in situations where they feel comfortable, which is why we talk about overstimulation. Mm-hmm. So, do we really believe that walking out in the middle of the night in the dark would be especially with no shoes, would be a comfortable situation?
It's a shock to the system, and that's the one thing that I'm learning that you should not have in autistic children. They're not spontaneous.
Exactly. Everything they have to know. They even ask questions generally about everything you're going to do when you've already told them what you're going to do, because they just want to know and understand and feel comfortable.
Yeah, and I've talked to, I think I've talked to enough people that I have a good understanding that, no autistic child is really identical to another autistic child as well. I mean, they all have their little quirks, they all have their little needs, they all have their structure that needs to be catered to them specifically. So I'm finding out with all these stories, and while they've been very, very helpful, each person is very much unique with this autism and how they're gauged on the spectrum.
Yeah, I agree. So y'all show Betty some love down in the group chat down there. She just, like I said, she's a phenomenal human. So Betty, what are your thoughts about all these bad actors that are attacking Seth in the worst time of his life? I mean, how do you feel about all that?
Well, there's several things that I have to say about that. First of all, I do have a reputation, and sometimes people gauge my reputation incorrectly, but I have never, in the history of me working on anything, ever accused an innocent person. People out here make mistakes. There's not one person I've met that has not made mistakes in their life. So when we start talking and start pointing fingers at innocent people that had nothing to do with their child's disappearance, I think it's pretty low, because we don't know what it's like, and only a parent that has lost a child would know what this is like. And no matter what you've done in your past, it doesn't change the love that you have for your child. It needs to stop. We need to focus on the real information, finding out where he's gone, who was the last one to see him, why are they not more forthcoming, why are they running away from home, why are they acting so suspicious. It's not Seth we need to be focusing on in this case. Now, after this case, if you want to beat him up, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but by all means. But while we're in this case, our focus is Sebastian Rogers, and we know for a fact Seth Rogers had nothing, and I mean nothing to do with it. He is the only one that's been out there searching, the only one posting flyers, the only one that has taken a public polygraph test. The only one that has really put weight behind, for anybody to be focusing on anything to do with Seth, is misguided, and you have to ask yourself, why are they misguiding people in this when it has nothing to do with it? We have so much work to do here. It's a distraction to be focusing on Seth at this stage.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I just think that there are, and I've said it time and time again, I'm not a content creator. You certainly are, and there's dozens of other ones, whatever the platform may be. And I think when you go to bed at night, you've got to ask yourself, what exactly is it that you're using your platform for? Is it just to make money? Is it to help, families that are going through tough times? I mean, what exactly are you using that platform for?
Exactly. And I got to tell you, for people that are out here new, because one of the things that I didn't understand social media. When I was brought into social media, I was kind of forced into it, so to speak, because I was active. I was advocating for a girl in my community that came home, obviously the Gabby Petito case. I had no knowledge of social media. It was just the work we do that kind of polarized what we do. And next thing you know, we're being attacked right and left. So, this channel that I built to help and advocate for people was being sucked into an area and going down a path that I did not want it to go down, because I was being sucked into the drama. And it took me 3 years to unplug from that and to be focused where we need to be focused. What the whole channel was built on to begin with took us 3 years to get here, because we allowed other people to detour us from our focus. And so I find that a lot of new people out there get sucked into the same thing, where they're so busy trying to fight to have their voice heard that they turn into the people that they're fighting against. So it's just one of those things. I wish everybody would, when we have these cases, look at these cases analytically, look at the bad actors, and point the fingers at the right people. Because for me, I will work with a bum, I will work with a Skid Row junkie, I will work with anybody that wants to find their family member that is lost. I do not judge. If they had nothing to do with the crime, I'm willing to work with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're innocent in life. What matters is that they're innocent in the situation.
Right.
And we know for a fact, you gave some reasons that you felt like that Seth was not involved, in addition to the video footage of him being at work till 7:30 that morning. So,
exactly.
There's zero chance that he's involved. And, I've said it since day one. I mean, if we're going to have Nancy Grace do a polygraph, then, let's pull them all three in, and let's have the same polygrapher do all three of them, and then let's establish a baseline from there.
Yes. And the thing is I don't, obviously this is just speculating. It has no relevance. It's not true. I don't want anybody thinking it is. I really, truly don't believe Chris ever took his polygraph. I don't know why I feel that way. And I don't believe that Katie would have passed her polygraph either, unless they were highly trained to do so, or they studied up on it before they took it. I just don't believe it with the information that we have. The simplest information, the simplest factual information doesn't make sense. And there's no way she could ever pass a polygraph test that says she did not witness or see abuse of her son.
Right. Yeah, we know that for sure.
Right, and that's the reason why I don't think she passed her polygraph, or it was inconclusive, because I don't see how she could pass that portion of her polygraph. And if she could, she would have had to tell the truth, and there should have been enough for probable cause or an arrest for abuse.
Yeah, and let's talk about the PCA for a minute that had to have been obtained to go search the landfills. Mm-hmm. I mean, wouldn't you like to be able to see what was in those PCAs? I mean, you can't get those just by saying that the trash can was a little heavy.
No, there's definitely more. There's more involved. I feel like there was something that triggered them. I mean, the probable cause is a lower burden,
sure,
but it's still, you still have to have something. You can't use it for a fishing expedition, and I don't see how they would have gotten a warrant without having some legitimate information there, you know?
Sure.
And what was that legitimate information? Was it the fact that they saw maybe some red like substance on the outside of the trash bin? Or was it because there was a tear of clothing or article of clothing still attached to the trash bin? What was it? Was it the dog hit? Was the dog hit that was, you know, because they did say there was a dog hit that was a false hit. Could it have been that? You know, we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, and so I sent you an audio. I had a person reach out to me on Facebook that had connected with Chris through YouTube, and he was angry at something that she had posted. So he gave her his phone number, told him to reach out to her, that he wanted to clear some things up, and in that phone call that I sent you, that audio, I mean, clearly that was Chris Proudfoot's voice, correct?
Yep.
So what were your thoughts about him making the statement that, you know, regarding what we saw him wearing when he went to bed that night? You had some comments about the use.
Yeah, so, you know, I guess only time will tell if those are misstatements, but like I was telling you, you know, he's made those types, he's interchanged I, me, and we so much through his normal conversation and his normal speech, you know, speaking to other people, because I've been listening to all these interviews and I've heard it change so many times. I honestly believe that's just the way he talks, but there's nothing really like, there's no aha moment, but you know, could it be? Could it be one of these things where he made a mistake early up front and now he's doing damage control by saying, interchanging me, I, and we consistently? That's a possibility too, but to be honest with you, whenever he's just relaxed on these other channels and he's able to be himself, I notice he makes those mistakes quite often. So it leads me to believe that those aren't, you know, he's not there, he's just speaking as if he was.
Yeah, that may be true. He certainly, there's a lot of things you can dissect through there that are inconsistent at best.
Oh, no, he definitely, I mean, it raised eyebrows, but you know what? It comes back to the camper thing, too, because when he was on Smiley's World explaining the camper, he said, we went back, and I remember stopping, I'm like, oh, Katie went with him. And so, you know, further in it, he's like, when I say we, I meant me. I was there by myself because I never heard Katie left with him. I heard it was just him. So when he was saying that, and that's what polarized it for me. This is more in line with the way he just speaks.
Yeah. So let's talk about, before we let you go, because I've got a few bits of misinformation we want to clear up. And before we let you go, let's talk about this 17 hours.
Yes, the camper, the 17 hours. So that's a big deal for me, you know, because for somebody like me that's looking for an opportunity, you know, an opportunity to dispose of something, an opportunity to get rid of evidence, I'm always looking for that. No matter who I'm looking at, I'm always looking for that opportunity where they separate themselves from the group to be able to go take care of something. And Chris did just that with the camper. And so I'm thinking that 17 hours just doesn't make sense, because I travel a lot. You know, I've been in motorhomes, I've been in RVs, I've been in campers and fifth wheels just like his, and I've never spent, you know, 5 hours organizing one that size. You know, typically you put everything kind of in the middle, you pull in your sides, anything that needs to be packed up, and especially with a missing child, who gives a crap? Throw the crap in there and get back home. I mean, did he take everything out and rinse it off and wash it down and fold it up real nicely? And, you know, it doesn't make sense, but he was gone 17 hours. So I feel like that was an opportunity for him. For what? I really don't know. Was it disposing of evidence? Was it disposing of something else? I don't know. All I know is this is a huge window. So the way I'm looking at it is, we know a starting point and we know an ending point in that 17-hour tour. We know it was at 1008 Stafford and 1008 Stafford. So that's a start and a finish. Now we can take and figure out where he could have possibly gone, because you got to think wherever he went, he's got to be, the time, it's not going to be 7 hours. It'd be more in line of 3 hours because he's got a round trip, 3.5 hours there and 3.5 hours back. So that's where I'm trying to find now.
And those are his words, down to the minute of how long that takes. I think he said something like not quite 3.5, but it was very specific, right?
Yes. He did say a specific number, but because it was so specific, I don't recall what it is.
Yeah, so essentially, to your point, simple math, 3.5 and 3.5, 7.
Right.
17 minus 7 leaves 10 unaccounted hours.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you got to have some time to think and some time to get, things ready. And he still had time that he had to actually pack up the camper to make this whole story plausible. So there is that, but the problem is that I'm having with all of this is why was it so important to get that camper right then there? I mean, they turned around within a week later and took it right back to the place he picked it up from.
Yeah, he could have just jumped in his pickup.
Right. Well, he did. He was home in his pickup. He went and asked law enforcement if he can go back and get his camper because something with work. And I thought it was literally on, St. Jude's campus, and that's why he had to go back and get it. But then I find out it wasn't. It was at Yogi Bear the whole time. So his story about having to go pick up his camper was full of crap as well.
I mean, the only thing that would have made sense is, he didn't pay for enough nights, but really that doesn't make sense either because he didn't plan on having to run home.
Right, and not only that, but he could have called in a credit card over the phone or just told him, look, I've got a kid missing, I'll be back in a couple days, just watch my stuff. Nobody would have kicked him out.
Right, exactly. Well, so are you going to dig into the, do I have mods in the group?
Yeah, I'm going to be digging into the 17 hours. I'm going to be getting back to the maps and trying to figure out. It's just hard. What's hard for me is I can't physically see how long it takes to get from point A to point B. And when you use maps, it depends on the day. So if you're trying to map it at night, you need if the activity happened at night, you need to map it at night. You don't want to map it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It throws your numbers off. Sure. So that's kind of where I'm at here, just trying to map and see where there are possibilities of, because I know what I'm looking for. If I can see, I know what area is prime for if this is the case, which is what my hunch is. I know what kind of location I'm looking for. I just need to find it.
Sure. Well, I'm going to try to keep this short tonight, Betty. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you.
That's great. I love this. This was nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll do this again soon. And I'll get in contact with you about setting you up to meet with Seth.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Tony, and keep up the good work.
Appreciate you, sister. Bye-bye. Okay, hold on just a second, guys. Okay. All right. Let's see here.
Hello.
How you doing, Jen?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, it's been a day. It's definitely been a long day. And Seth, we had how you doing, Beach?
Good. How are you? Hi.
Doing real good. So, Seth, somebody asked how Seth was doing. He had a good day today. Had a good meeting with law enforcement, and we're working with those guys and supporting them. So we've got some positive things going on. So, and he, as always, he appreciates you guys' thoughts and prayers, and he's definitely, I hate it that he's not on TikTok, but he knows he's got a lot of love here. So
that's right.
And he's got a lot of support, and he's got a lot of protection. So we're very, very grateful for that. So So, Jen, you have the, what I want to do tonight, and I'm not going to stay on very long, and I want to say a couple things. I want to dispel some rumors that are out there, but I also want to say that anytime we get on here, we are going to share information that's been given to us, and in the future, I will make it very, very clear that this is information that Seth has agreed that could be shared. I will make it very, very clear that it's not coming from law enforcement, and it will be things that are brought to me in certain situations, and we'll look at it, we'll talk about it, and if you're on board with that, great. If not, then you don't have to be here as we discuss it. But Jen, do you have that video that Seth sent in for us?
I do. Do you want me to play the video or just the audio?
I want you to play the video if you could, and if you need to come in, if we need to switch boxes, if you know how to do that, you can certainly do that.
Yeah, I got it. Alright. Give me just a minute.
Person. I know that she did buy me lunch. Thank you for that. I don't have a TikTok. I don't speak with this individual. I don't know any of her associates. And anything that she's telling people is obviously a lie because I don't have communication with her. No, never bought my son a burner phone. Get your facts straight, lady.
Okay, let's play that again in case people didn't hear the start of it.
Alright.
Blue Knight, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm good. I'm just putting my face out there so everybody knows that we're not the same.
Hi.
Hey, I don't know this barbecue person. I know that she did buy me lunch. Thank you for that. I don't have a TikTok. I don't speak with this individual. I don't know any of her associates. And anything that she's telling people is obviously a lie because I don't have communication with her. No, never bought my son a burner phone. Get your facts straight, lady.
Appreciate it, Jen.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so really that's all we're going to do tonight. I'm not going to stay on very long. I've got some things to do. Blue, I do want to give you a chance to talk because I always enjoy talking with you. Do you have anything you'd like to add, maybe to what Betty talked about or what have you?
No, I just trying to debunk some of the stuff that's been going on over the last couple of days.
It's hard to hear you, Blue.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to debunk some of the stuff that's been going on over the last couple of days. Number one, if anybody knows, I live in Las Vegas. This is my house. That is my fireplace. There's no difference in it. And I'm just letting people know so that, because people were saying that my account is a fake account.
Well, the only thing you've ever said to upset me is you tell me to go to bed too early, buddy.
No, I do that because I know you got to work in the morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
And that's the only reason why I do that. People got to, especially on Monday.
You got to get closer again, buddy.
Give me a second. I'll put my headset in.
All right. We want to hear what you got to say. You're always the voice of reason.
Well, sometimes. Alright. Let's see if this helps. There we go.
That's a lot better.
Alright. Yeah, because the earpiece always helps.
Did you have people attacking you, Blue?
There was there she is, Miss Southern Tea. No, I have not seen her apology, Miss Southern Tea. And that's what I'm saying, is that you need to do a little bit of research before you decide to start bashing people. This is what I'm getting at. You put things out there that aren't right. And it's just plain and simple. I mean, I'm a 68-year-old man. Seth's a heck of a lot younger than me. And everybody knows who I am. Everybody knows my voice. I haven't changed my voice. The only time it may change is if I'm not feeling well. And that's it. So that's about it. That's all I've got to say. I'm just here to help this, and people ask, well, why am I involved in this? And I'll say plain and simple, I have a niece who's autistic. So yeah,
it's near and dear to you.
Yeah, it's near and dear.
Yeah. No, we love you, buddy. All of our supporters think the world of you, and like I said, I know every time when I bring you up in a box, I know before I do that it's bedtime.
No, it's not bedtime. You can do what you want to do. It's Friday. You can do what you want to do. I'm the one that's got to get up tomorrow morning early, not you.
Absolutely.
But I thought this was the only Southern. I appreciate Southern Tea removing that down a few days ago. I appreciate that. It's just like I said, if people want to do a little bit of investigation on people's websites or their pages, you can do it. My first video or my first picture on my page is of Mount Charleston.
I gotcha.
Then you go down to, and it's me at a taco shop. Then you go down, and then it's me doing the night before Christmas, and that's where I sat in this chair where I'm sitting now, and I spoke in front of that fireplace right down there. So there's no difference, and
well, you don't have to defend yourself to us.
No, I'm not defending myself to you. I'm just trying to debunk the debunkings.
Yeah,
before Nikki gets on and debunks it.
I gotcha.
I love her to death. She's a great person. And Nick, if you're not busy tomorrow night and you want to see me in person, I will be at the Chrome Room. And if you know where the Chrome Room is, that's at the Santa Fe. There's a night band playing there, so I think she's still in the room.
Absolutely.
But the biggest thing is that we're all here for one reason and one reason only, and that's what everybody's got to realize.
Well, imagine what would happen if everybody turned their energy into helping find this kid. I mean, one thing I loved about Bullhorn Betty is that she's done her part from her platform, and she's been dealing with this car issue for a while, but she's going to go physically get on the ground and search, and probably will be with Seth when she does it. And I think that he's certainly leading by example. It's a good example to follow.
There was rumors about the Cajun
Navy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before my time, but I
haven't heard it lately.
Yeah, I do believe that there was a lot of rumors swirling about some of the search people, and I think that, I think that there's been some conversation with some other search parties, but I definitely think we need a broader band of people searching. And, I think if everybody had joined together and get in the woods together, I think we'd be able to clear some areas out and have some more answers for Seth,
Yeah, so everybody now knows what I look like, and normally I don't put my face out there. And there's a reason, after 30 years in law enforcement.